In the previous video, President Kang is put against the wall by his grandfather, who says he knows his grandson is seeing someone and wants to meet her. Tae-moo, who is comforted to hear that he will accept who the mystery woman is, replies that he just needs a little more time to do so. In the next scene, we see that the protagonist's parents are going to a funeral and intend to spend the day away from home, which means they won't be opening the restaurant, and Ha-min, who was planning to go out with some friends, asks his mother to borrow some money, who promptly denies it. So the boy doesn't fail to show up for his appointment, and to do so, he takes what's left in the cash register. Meanwhile, Hari goes to her friend's apartment to help her with a cockroach and learns about the fight between her and her boyfriend. Then the two decide to eat some dumplings and go to a nearby establishment. On the way there, the friends see Tae-moo and Sung-hoon getting into President Kang's car, so Young Seo, already thinking the worst, that they were going to have a good time, calls a cab for the girls to follow them. It turns out that they went to an orphanage, which will later be shown to be the place where Sung-hoon spent most of her childhood. And since Young Seo wasn't introduced to her mother the day before because of all the confusion, the man takes the opportunity to do so now. Afterwards, the lady and the woman go to talk separately from the rest and end up getting on very well. Even Sung-hoon's mother says she understands why Young Seo left like that and is happy that they have now sorted themselves out. Sung-hoon was 5 years old when he arrived at the orphanage, and he stayed there until he started elementary school. And since Tae-moo's parents were always present at the place, making donations and campaigns, it was thanks to this connection that Sung-hoon went to live with Tae-moo and his grandfather. Young Seo and Sung-hoon sit down to talk later, as they still need to settle things, and now that the dust has settled, it's all quiet between the couple who still have a lot to discover about each other. However, Hari receives a call from a delivery man at her family's restaurant. He tells her that when he was dropping off some orders, he saw her brother taking money from the till and then the boy ran off, so the four of them go to the place to find out more. When they look at the security cameras, this is indeed what happened, and now Ha-min isn't answering his cell phone. However, another problem arises when a customer comes through the front door with a group of ladies who are making tracts asking to be served, and as President Kang has taken the lead in saying that they will serve them, everyone gets to work. And at the end of the surprise workday, Tae-moo ends up apologizing to Young Seo for having sent Sung-hoon in his place on a blind date with her cousin. Later, when the four of them finally go to dinner, something unexpected happens to Tae-moo. When the protagonist went to open his soda, it turned out to be full of pressure and the liquid gushed all over his lover, so the two of them went to her house so that he could borrow one of Hari's brother's clothes. And while the man was changing, the protagonist's parents arrived at the establishment earlier than agreed, so Young Seo, who is a very good friend, rolled them both up and told Hari to hide President Kang in her room in time for everyone to enter the house. The excuse Young Seo used was Sung-hoon, the woman introduced him as her boyfriend, so everyone overlooked the strange way she was acting. In the end, the protagonist's parents invited the girls and Sung-hoon out for a drink, and as Hari realized that the meeting wasn't going to end anytime soon, the first chance she got to take Tae-moo out, she did. However, the two ended up being spotted by Ha-min, who at first tried to play the protective man of his sister, but after learning that her boyfriend is the president of the company, the boy quickly became meek. And of course, after Tae-moo left, Hari asked the youngest to keep their relationship a secret. The next day, when he's at the gym, Sung-hoon notices that his girlfriend has arrived all cheerful to do her workout, and we discover that she's like that after the man looks at the video she's watching. It turns out that in order for Tae-moo to be forgiven, he bribed her with a recording of Sung-hoon crying while looking at a photo of her while drunk, saying how much he missed her. And while the couple were fighting over who got the phone, someone who was watching took a picture of them. We then see that this is the work of Young Seo's father. And Hari received an invitation that surprised her. URA asked her to meet her at an establishment near the protagonist's house, and when the two started talking, we discovered a lot. It seems that 7 years ago, when Hari became aware of her feelings for Min-woo, she first talked to Ura about it, and although the woman had no interest in him, she only chose to stay with him so that the protagonist wouldn't have him. And in these comings and goings of the couple, in one of them Ura cheated on him with another guy that Min-woo didn't even know about, so she questions why Hari didn't tell him, and our protagonist's answer was that she didn't want to further destroy the life of the man who was already suffering from the end of his relationship. This last part, Min-woo heard because he had entered the establishment and Hari decided to leave. Now instead of the man dealing with the situation with his girlfriend, he went after the protagonist who told him that the way he was acting was affecting Ura, that's why she was out of her mind and that it was all his fault. The next day, after work, Hari and Tae-moo go out on a date, but as it starts to rain and the protagonist knows that he has something to do with rainy days and his parents' accident, she does everything she can to make the man relax, and it works. But at the end of the meeting, President Kang reveals that he has already understood that his beloved knows about his trauma and comments that he has always wanted to tell her, but has never found the courage to do so. Hari shows her boyfriend that he can be calm about the matter and then hugs him. Soon the two say goodbye, and while Tae-moo goes home happy, Hari meets someone who can change the future of their relationship. It turns out that President Kang's grandfather has found out about their relationship and has asked the protagonist to meet him alone. Summing up the conversation, Hari was able to tell him about the beginning, and before he could talk about the couple's current situation, he received a call that Tae-moo was in hospital. President Kang found out about their meeting on the way home and, nervous about what his grandfather might say to his beloved, he was heading towards the establishment they were in when he crashed his car. The man goes to the hospital and soon afterwards Hari also arrives, which makes him angry because he has already warned the woman to stay away from his grandson. However, in this situation, the protagonist slams on the brakes, and when she sees Tae-moo all right, he just has a bruised arm, she says she's leaving. But at that moment, President Kang shows his grandfather that they really are together and that he's not going to give up on Hari that easily. Later, when it's just the two of them in the room with Sung-hoon, Tae-moo tells his grandfather that he was the one who made Hari sign a dating contract and that, as far as the lying thing is concerned, if you want to blame anyone, it has to be your grandson. The protagonist, on the other hand, was on her way home with Young Seo's ride, but her friend drove her back to the hospital at Hari's request, after she saw that it was raining again and was worried about President Kang's well-being. When she arrives at Tae-moo's room, the man is looking out of the window and even shows her a tower that looks like a Christmas tree if you have a little imagination. During their conversation, Tae-moo tells him about his parents' accident, which he still blames himself for. It turned out to be his birthday and the boy didn't want them to leave, so while he stayed with his grandfather and received calls from his mother, he kept rushing them to come faster and faster. The boy's father, wanting to see his son soon, sped off in a car in heavy rain that didn't allow him to see much in front of the headlights, and so the accident happened and they lost their lives. The grandfather went with the boy to the scene and even tried to cover the little one's eyes, but it's something that remains in his memory. And after this difficult account, Hari comments that if that were the logic, he should blame her for his accident today, and as the man says he will never do that, she explains that his parents don't resent him either. The next day, Young Seo meets up with her friend to give her the phone she had forgotten in her car and to lend her support for the bomb that was about to explode. Ura has gone crazy, she commented in that video of Min-woo with the protagonist that she and the man would make a great couple, that even Hari liked him for 7 years, but to attract more attention she threw the secret of her relationship with President Kang on the internet, and there were photos as proof, the ones she took on the boat when they met at the hotel. Soon, everyone in the company believes that Chairman Kang was betrayed by Hari with Min-woo, and they start to talk about it. The protagonist's team is also affected, as the project they were leading with great success has been passed on to 2 other teams of researchers, so that Hari's name isn't further linked to Min-woo's, and now she's beginning to realize that everyone around her will also suffer the consequences. Despite this, her superiors defend her from the others and Hari is extremely grateful to them. Young Seo, on the other hand, so that the protagonist's parents wouldn't find out about her affair with Tae-moo, ended up footing the bill for all the evening's customers and controlling the information that reached them. That's why Hari recognizes and values her best friends so much. The next day, Young Seo is in the parking lot of her apartment building with her boyfriend when they are surprised by the presence of her father. The man is known for disapproving of his daughter's relationships, and in most cases, he offers the men money to get away from her. However, the woman's father invites the couple to dinner tonight so that he can get to know Sung-hoon better. And at Hari's work, she is also surprised when President Kang's grandfather calls her into his office to talk. The man suggests that she go and work at the production plant for a while, until the rumors die down, and as the protagonist says that there will be nothing for a researcher to do there, he comments that she should resign. But as an act of courage, we see Hari defending her profession, saying that she won't do that under any circumstances, and then she leaves the company to wander the streets and think about her current situation. Meanwhile, Tae-moo found out about the rumors from some nurses at the hospital and immediately charged Sung-hoon for not telling him anything, after which he got dressed and went to the company to support his girlfriend. However, the woman was no longer there and Chairman Kang came across her grandfather in his office, who told him about the proposal he had made to her. Tae-moo's only reply to him was that it was all his fault and that if he had to give up the company because of the rumors, there was no problem with that, but that he shouldn't dare try to fire her again. Afterwards, President Kang went to the business of the protagonist's parents and didn't find her there, but Ha-min was there and Tae-moo asked him to borrow his cell phone, as his was damaged in the accident. Hari's parents overheard him calling Ha-min his brother-in-law and went to ask him about it, at which point they found out about their daughter's relationship and that Tae-moo is president of the company where she works. However, to the fright of his angry future mother-in-law, the man got into his car and drove off with his brother-in-law's cell phone, which he used to continue chasing his girlfriend who had simply disappeared. Meanwhile, Young Seo and Sung-hoon meet her father, who surprises her when he comments that if her boyfriend becomes his son-in-law, he could inherit the family business, and for the first time, the woman believes that he has approved of the person she has chosen. After the meeting, Young Seo finds an engagement ring in the glove compartment of Sung-hoon's car, and when he questions him, the man stops the car and officially proposes, since the woman has commented that she would like to marry him and they are very cute. However, when they go to celebrate at home, Sung-hoon receives a call from the woman's father when she is with him and the two of them hear together that everything was a farce at dinner. The gentleman wants Sung-hoon to stay away from his daughter and their joy is interrupted by this news. Tae-moo discovers that Hari is in front of that tower that looks like a Christmas tree and goes there to find her, where the man comforts her and then the two of them go to a hotel room to do it. The next day is Young Seo's birthday and, as usual, she goes to celebrate with the protagonist's family and this year Sung-hoon accompanies her. Tae-moo also attends the celebration, because when he went to dump Hari, her parents saw them and now they want to get to know him better. Over the course of the day, President Kang won over his future mother-in-law, but he had to try a little harder when it came to his beloved's father, as the man felt that he was a little cowed. So at one point, when the gentleman went to the family establishment, Tae-moo went after him and said he understood that the gentleman was angry with him, but at that moment the man explained that that wasn't what he was feeling. In fact, Hari's parents were never able to do much for her hobbies, such as singing, which she is very good at, because they couldn't afford it, and now he's afraid that people will compare her to her parents because she's with someone from a very high class like Tae-moo. He knows that the protagonist will feel bad about this, which has become his biggest worry. Tae-moo replies that although he can't block out all the attention she will receive, he promises that he will stand by his beloved and protect her with everything he has. And so President Kang's future father-in-law is reassured. Young Seo, on the other hand, had to deal with her father on her birthday. The woman went to him to hand in her letter of resignation and let him know that she will no longer use the man's surname, as she no longer wants him in her life, since he never saw her as his daughter, but rather as something that belongs to him. The next day, Tae-moo learned about the transfer of the project from Hari's team to the others, so he took action and made them finish what they had started, which is the right thing to do. And the protagonist received an apology from URA through Minwoo, who asked to meet her in a coffee shop. The man regrets everything he has caused his friend and tells her that he is closing his restaurant to spend some time in Europe. The couple have decided to end their relationship and he hopes that when he returns, he will be able to resume his friendship with Hari. Later, when Tae-moo and Hari were at work together, the man received a call from a friend of his grandfather's, telling him that the man was in hospital, and before he could start to despair, President Kang heard in the background that the man was pretending so that his grandson would get scared and break up with the protagonist. That way, Hari comments that she can go to the hospital and get into Dagu's mood. She can convince him to like her again, like she did the first time when she pretended to be someone else, and that's what the woman tries to do by spending the rest of the day with the gentleman. It worked for a while. The gentleman realized Hari's gift for singing, but he didn't say he accepted her. Meanwhile, Sung-hoon prepared a dinner to celebrate his beloved's birthday, which they hadn't been able to do alone the day before, and the woman got emotional. Young Seo says that she thought she would feel good about not seeing her father in her life anymore, but it's hurting a lot and she's going to make an effort to be better for her fiancé, so that he doesn't let greed blind him like it did his family. Later, Young Seo, who is now unemployed, says that she's going to try to follow her dream of starting her own company, and Sung-hoon is the first to invest in it, with a large sum of money that he has saved up, and he jokes that she'll also have to send him a business plan. Returning to Hari, in the end it's a good thing that Dagu went to the hospital and did that scene, because when he did all those tests to scare his grandson, the man discovered that he has a heart vessel disease that can't be treated in Korea. So Sung-hoon and Tae-moo start spending more time with the man until they figure out what to do. In the next scene, we see President Kang talking to the protagonist. He comments that his grandfather's treatment can only be found in the United States, and that's why he's going there with him. Tae-moo invites Hari to join them, but the woman declines the invitation and explains that her decision is because she doesn't want Dagu to be stressed by her presence. Also, the man will be spending more time with him and she doesn't want to steal the attention that should now be directed to her grandfather. So the couple agree that they will continue their relationship and overcome all this together, even if they spend some time away from each other. After a year, we see that Tae-moo is still abroad, but their relationship is still going. Well, we'll see for how long. It has come to light on a gossip site that the man is in a relationship with a musician, and as soon as the story reaches the protagonist, she decides to take her pending vacation and travel to the place. However, when Hari is putting her suitcase in the cab, she is surprised by her lover getting out of it, and we discover that the man came back a week before his grandfather, because he missed his girlfriend. At first, the man's treatment is finally over and they can return to the country for good. And as for the gossip, that's all it was, a rumor. Tae-moo didn't come empty-handed, and with his grandfather's blessing, he asked for Hari's hand in marriage, which she obviously accepted. What did you think of this season? I hope you enjoyed the summary. Leave your suggestions in the comments and subscribe. If you liked the video, like it and share it to help me. Until next time.